The United States is the most dangerous place to give birth in the developed world. That's the conclusion of an investigation conducted by USA Today. Each year across the country, more than 50,000 mothers are severely injured during or after childbirth, and 700 die. Experts say that's about 50% of these deaths could be prevented if the women were given better medical care. For more on this, I want to bring in Dr. Zaher Merhi. He is the Director of Research and Development in IVF Technologies at New Hope Fertility Center and is a reproductive endocrinology and infertility specialist. Doctor, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Why is the U.S. such a dangerous place for mothers giving birth?
Well, this is a very, very important subject because the two most common reasons for maternal death right now in the United States are one, blood loss or hemorrhage due to vaginal delivery or, more importantly, cesarean section. And number two is high blood pressure, which is called preeclampsia. And preeclampsia is very severe, that when it becomes an eclampsia, it can cause seizure and cerebral edema and maternal death.
What does this say about our health care system then? I mean, are they just not prepared for these?
It is multifactorial. So there is a lot of experts who have been studying why the maternal mortality have been increasing in the United States. But really, it's very hard to pinpoint one particular problem. In addition to the hemorrhage and the blood loss, there is the preeclampsia that I told you about. There is other things. For example, the opioid epidemic have been shown to be correlated with maternal mortality. Number two, the increased rate of cesarean section in the United States due to fear of medical legal actions by the patients on the OBGYN. More OBGYN doctors are performing cesarean section. And cesarean section is a major surgery with severe complications such as hemorrhage internally, losing the uterus, ultimately causing hysterectomy, blood transfusions, infection, etc. In addition to these reasons, there is the obesity epidemic in the United States. Now, 2/3 of Americans are overweight. Over 40% are obese. And as a woman becomes overweight or obese, she's more predisposed to diabetes and cardiovascular events. And if she gets pregnant in this situation, she's more predisposed to having a heart attack and really serious conditions during pregnancy. And other factors are probably more documenting this mortality, and that's why. There's a theory, this is a theory, right? And lastly is the family planning. There is poor family planning, and there's a lot of women who are not able to afford cost in the prenatal care cost in the prenatal period. And if she's not really prepared or taking care of her pregnancy, this is going to end up in severe complications and possibly mortality.
And the studies show that the death rate is continuing to go up. So what needs to be done to bring that down? Great
question. As far as the blood loss or the hemorrhage, which is the most common reason for maternal mortality, one is we need to have better training for doctors. I'm going to give you an example. If a doctor is called on a patient who is bleeding, you can't just eyeball the bleeding and say, oh, okay, she's fine. No, you need an objective measure to check how much bleeding that patient has, because there's this threshold beyond which you need to act and give blood transfusion for the patient. So really weighing the blood loss by a pad, when you have a soaked pad, to weigh it and to see how much blood loss there is very important. Two is for hospitals to have checklists. The more hospitals have checklists, for example, California State, their maternal mortality dropped significantly because they're implementing very tight checklists in hospitals in order to prevent or in order to manage maternal hemorrhage efficiently.
And the New York Times previously reported that the Black communities tend to have the most maternal death rates. Talk to us a little bit about that, and why is that?
Great question. So, African American has 2 to 3 times, and some studies have showed 4 times, increased risk of maternal mortality. It's unclear, but we know there is racial disparity in healthcare system. It could be that African American have lower access to healthcare. It could be another reason is the preeclampsia, the high blood pressure during pregnancy. It's significantly up to 3 times higher in African American compared to Caucasian. So these factors could be factors as to why African American has higher mortality compared to Caucasian. But really, to pinpoint one reason is still very hard to do.
You've delivered thousands of babies. How many were high risk?
I can't remember, but I would say probably around 10% were high risk.
10%. Wow. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Zaher Merhi. Thank you so much for being here.
Having me.
Appreciate it.